Don't forget to click that subscribe and bell icon to receive a notification each time I upload a new video. Hi everyone, it's Mike here and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So I was lying in bed, staring at the ceiling, waiting for sleep to take me away, when I started pondering about crows. It's coming up to Halloween, so of course, naturally, you start thinking about crows. Anyway, I started thinking about the collective noun for crows, which is obviously a murder. And that gave me the idea for an art journal page. Okay, so I've cut a piece of my watercolour cardstock and I'm just trying to find the front cover so I can show you which one it is again. It's the Daler Rowney mixed media paper. And it's 250 GSM or £169. If you're in the UK, I got mine from the range. So if you're in the States, I've got no idea where you get it from. But anyway, that's what it is. So, and I've cut it at 8 inches by 9 inches and I've got a 1 inch kind of crease because it's going to go into my next art journal when I've actually finished creating both of the covers. I've only done the one so far, the back page, not the front cover. But I've got this little stack of papers that I'm slowly putting together. So the colours that I'm going to be using today are obviously going to be fairly kind of autumnal evening. So I'm going to use Dina Wakeley's mainly because I need to use these up. They've been hanging around in my collection for donkeys and I don't really use them that often. The white and the black and the grey and those are kind of like turquoisey colours I tend to use the most of. But these ones, they hardly ever get used. So we're going to be using Night, Eggplant. I know it's purple, but you know, oh come on, autofocus, I may have to change and start again, hang on. Right, I think I've sorted the focus out. Okay, so the other two colours that I'm going to be using are the Dina Wakeley Media Sedona, which is a kind of terracotta-y red, and the Tangerine, which obviously is an orangey colour. So those are the four colours that I'm going to be using to create my background colour. Got a water pot here and I actually cleaned my brushes this morning. Ian was working in the garage sanding stuff, so he had the electric sander on, so it was kind of noisy. So I thought I'd wait until he'd finished before starting to film my project, just to make sure that there's no background humming or, you know, that kind of vibration noise. So I thought, well, while I'm doing that, I'll go and clean my pen pot. So my paint pot for the water and my paintbrushes. When I got to the paint pot, there was 3 googly eyes floating in the dirty water. I thought, oh, well, how very Halloween. Anyway. So we've got the paper. I'm going to start off by doing the lighter colours first. So I'm going to turn the page on its side and I'm going to start off with the orange. I have not put gesso on the page. I'm just going to allow the paint to do the thing on the page itself, and I'm probably going to need a heck of a lot more than that. So there's 4 colours, so I'm hoping to do the orange right down at the bottom, and I don't mind if there's kind of like brush marks and that kind of stuff left in it, don't really mind. Okay, so that's probably gone slightly over. I'm going to leave that orange there because I will use it to mix in with the Sedona as I'm going. So just give it a quick shake it to wake it. Pick up the Sedona, leaving the orange on. Then I'm going to start down here and work my way up until I get to about halfway, and then just gradually brushing back down again and coming back up again with that darker colour. Okay, so I'm kind of happy with that. he says, just coming a bit further down. That'll do. And then we're going to go into the eggplant now, so I'll give it a shake. So this is going to be fun. So grab the eggplant and then we'll start and manoeuvre that paint across. Just blending down towards the bottom and then getting darker as we get towards the top or towards the left. Keep on going. May need just a tad more. There we go, that should do it. And then as we get towards here, I'm going to bring in that night. I'm just going to drop it right over the top. Just move my water pot a little bit. Grab the Sedona, then grab the night. Not the Sedona, the eggplant. So just back and forth a little bit and then get right into the dark towards the top. And then just bring that down a bit. I'm not particularly bothered about over here where my finger is, because that's going to be where it gets bound into the journal when it's done. So there we go. So let me just try and turn this on its side so you can see what we've kind of created. So we've got that kind of ombre background that fades from the deep night into the purple, to the orange, well, the Sedona, and then into that tangerine. So that's fine. I'll dry that off, clear up all this mess, and then we can get cracking. So the background is dry. Try not to activate the autofocus because it seems to be playing up a bit today. I've got some white gesso that I've just given it a quick shake up just to make sure it's mixed. And I've got, or did have, did I put it away? I did put it away. My fan brush. So I'm just going to grab some white gesso, put that down there, get some water, mix it up a bit, and then I'm going to splatter. Just across the top. That'll do. Don't want a huge amount, just a small bit, just to kind of create that starry night kind of feel in the background. So again, I need to clear all this mess up, get it all wiped up and dried so that I don't end up getting my elbow in it like I normally do. Oh, there you go, you see, it was as easy as that. And get it dried. Because we're putting gesso onto acrylic paint, that white should stay white because the acrylic is permanent and shouldn't reactivate again with that gesso on top. So hopefully we'll keep those white sparkly stars in the background. They will stay as they are. Okay, so they're all dry, and as you can see, the stars haven't dimmed at all. If we'd have used a water reactive colour in the background for the ombre, then they will have reactivated, the stars would have reactivated the colour underneath, but they haven't. Okay, so the next step, start to add a little bit of collage. To go in my starry sky, I've got a moon, but I wanted a blood moon. So I've taken a picture from the interwebs, just a bog standard from one of these free PNG kind of websites that are only sole purpose is just to get you to click on advertising. So I got it from one of those, and then I brought it into my Adobe Photoshop, my photo editing software, and I added a kind of warm reddish kind of glow onto the moon to turn it into kind of like a blood moon. And I'm going to stick that just so it's coming off the top. Look at the way those stars are kind of forming all the way around it. So that's going to be my first layer of collage. So I'm going to use this Elmer's school glue, which is one of the purpley ones that goes clear when it dries. It's light reactive, so because I've had mine sitting on the shelf, it's like all the purple's practically bleached out of it already. So what was purple glue is now more clear. As you can see, there's hardly any colour left in it. So that is going to go, and I've got to remember, halfway to about there. And I'll just line that up with the top of the page. And you did see me go around the edges with some distressing, just to kind of dirty the edges up a little bit. So I've got to remember that this is 9 inches that way. That is going to get put into the binding. So you've got to remember where your position for your middle is on the page. So let's just see if we can drop that down to the base there and just push it so it's up to the edge. Doesn't matter if it comes off a little bit. That's fine. Okay. So this next bit is the bit that I'm most scared of. Okay, so I've got an acrylic marker pen. This is from a company called Pebeo. Yeah, I don't know, is that how it's pronounced? I've got no idea. But this is an acrylic marker pen. It's 1.2 millimeters. But this is black. It's a black marker pen, but it has glitter in it. So it's a bit sparkly. Now, just to show you what I'm kind of going to go for, can you see? Yeah, I'm going to put some branches in the background using this pen. I did test it, but can you see the sparkle? That's what I'm hoping is going to end up on the page here. So, and I'm just deciding, or can't decide, whether to just wait a few minutes until the glue's dried a bit before I get the marker pen on it. See, I'm a bit nervous, I'm a bit hesitant, because if this goes wrong, then it goes wrong, and, you know, well, it goes wrong. So I think I will just wait for a bit until it's dry, and then I'll come back. Okay, so while I've been waiting for that moon to dry, I wasn't idle. I went and made myself a drink. So now Ian's just made a suggestion while I was downstairs that instead of trying to draw across the page to do the branches, if I turn it that way and do them this way, I'm less likely to smudge. Good tip. If it doesn't work, I can blame him. Right, okay. So I'm just hoping that I can get a decent kind of branch effect. So let's just see. So we want a kind of major branch kind of coming this way, up and over. So that needs to be nice and thick. Like I said, it is a marker pen, so, and it will have, see what we're saying about coming down across the page. Okay, so then we can start kind of doing the Tim Burton-esque kind of branches coming off. Which is fine, don't mind that at all. And then we'll have another one. Just just load up the nib again, kind of coming off, going kind of this way. Now the trick with like tree branches, I always find, is kind of trying to make them look natural, but also making sure that you maintain kind of like the thickness of the branches that you would normally get, because they start really thick towards the bottom and they get thinner as they get bigger, if you know what I mean. Thinner as they get towards the outer edge of the tree. So let's just come up with another kind of branch going off there, and then as we get back towards the main stem we get thicker. Just had a nasty feeling then that I'd forgotten to press record, but I hadn't, that's fine. So again, we can bring branches off and then just do that kind of Tim Burton-esque, and then just thicken it off, and then bring another one out here. You always do little smaller ones over there, can't we? Okay, so let's do another kind of wiggly branch up here, and then thicken that off. And then we can do and then you can literally just do smaller ones coming off if you want to, and then we can do ones coming down this way. Now some of these may get covered up in the long run, but I don't mind that, because they are still going to be kind of in the background mostly. There we go. And we can still, you can see that sparkle that's coming on there now. So let's go a bit further up here. Let's do another big kind of one there, which is just going to kind of disappear off to one side. And then we can do another kind of curly. That's cool. And then we can do smaller ones, all kind of branching away. Like I said, some of these will disappear behind the background anyway, so that's going to disappear off that way. So let's bring, I don't know, is that alright? Is that enough? Let's make the tree trunk a bit kind of more knobbly as it comes down there. Just load the nib back up. You can always feel when it starts to kind of dry up a bit. Okay, so what have we got? What have we got? Do we need to fill in a bit more? Let's just kind of keep on going with smaller kind of branches. I want it kind of full, even if you can't necessarily see them all because of the colour in the background, but that's fine. It doesn't matter if some of them fall like back on themselves. It's a kind of blasted, spooky tree. But I think that is going to work pretty good. I'm happy with that. So, just put that away for the time being. Let's just dry these off because I can still see there's a bit of moisture in the pen. Okay, just to double make sure, I've got a piece of kitchen roll and I'm just going to rub over the top. Yeah, completely dry, look. Whew, because that was the bit that I was most nervous about doing. Whether my artistic ability for that would pull off or whether I'd just completely fail miserably. But don't mind that at all. I probably will just finish off this top corner up here eventually, and also I can go back in and just make it a bit darker if I want to later on, but I think I'm happy with that as it stands. Okay, so the next bit is I want to add a piece at the bottom. So I've got the top of a gravestone. Again, this was an image that I got off the interwebs. It's actually one of those polystyrene kind of faux gravestones that you can buy from places like Amazon and AliExpress and that kind of thing. So this was one of the photographs of the actual product itself, and I brought it into my Photoshop and just enlarged it and then cut off the bottom because I didn't really need all of it. So, but it is going to go to the bottom there, and I need to make sure that I've got it about in the middle. And then let's just add the glue to that. So it's kind of like a half collage, half painted art journal page. Half drawn, half painted. Oh, sorry, a third drawn, a third painted, and a third collaged. But it's okay to mix. It's okay to mix and match. Okay, let's stick that down towards the bottom. Let's try and get it right towards the bottom so there's no orange showing. There we go. Again, I'll need just to leave that for a few minutes to dry, for it to grab, before I do anything else. So I shall let that sit. Maybe put something heavy on it just to hold it down. There we go. Perfect. And then I'll be back in a few minutes. Give me a chance to drink my coffee then, won't it? Quite still hot. Okay, so gravestone glued and stuck. So the next piece of collage I want to add to it is a crow. So this was an image I got a long time ago. It's been sitting in my vintage image collection for absolutely ages. This one was from the Graphics Fairy. Long time ago. It's been sitting in there. I've done, I think, one other project with it over the years. But this is the first time it's taken centre stage, that it's ever been a kind of main focal point. So I printed it off, and then obviously I've cut it out, fussy cutted, but I've had to be really careful. I had to use a craft knife to get in between the legs, and I have actually torn his claw on his foot, so I'm going to have to be very careful when I glue this one down. So this is going to go and sit on top of the gravestone there with that moon in the background. So that's what we're going to try and do. So I think I'm going to do a combination of dry glue for the feet, just to kind of make sure I get it held in position, and then for the major part of it I'll use the wet glue again. just wipe up the excess glue, and I've got to be careful about the foot to make sure I get it positioned just right so it looks as though it's sitting on that gravestone. This is what I love about doing collage, and particularly when you've got elements that are digital, because you can print them and you can resize them to fit whatever you're trying to do. It's almost like doing digital collage on your computer, but in real life. And you can just position just perfectly, just turn and twist until you're happy. Yeah, we've got that talon there, is exactly where it needs to be. And of course you can just wipe the glue off if you get any just poking through. Haha, love it, love it, love it, love it. Okay, so again we need just to allow a few minutes for drying time for it to just grip and hold, and then I can get cracking on doing my quote. Okay, so a few minutes have passed. That's grabbed quite nicely. I love the position. You can just see a little bit of that glue that's come off. That's all right. Don't mind that. We can always get around that by adding a little bit of shadow, which I probably will do in a bit. So I've got my quote here. So this was the quote that I thought of when I was lying in bed. So I've printed it off on my computer, and I've just trimming it out on the bits of paper, and I'm just going to do them all kind of squiggly angles, so they're all different. So sometimes when you're lying in bed, some of the best kind of like quotes or phrases pop into your head. I've got a notebook in my top drawer of my bedside cabinet, and a pen obviously, so if I think or have an idea I can just jot it down, because I can guarantee that when I wake up in the morning I'll have completely forgotten if I don't do that. So, good tip, inspiration strikes when you least expect it. It's often happened to me when I've been walking around the supermarket. So, there we go. Haha, love it. Okay, so just need to add a little bit of distress just to dirty it up a little bit. I didn't do it on black because I thought black would be a bit too much, because there's not really any black in the page. Even the tree, because it's got the sparkle to it, doesn't actually look black. It looks more like charcoal grey than black because of that sparkle. So I thought I'd probably be better not doing it that way. Okay, so let's add as best we can. So yeah, I thought the quote was kind of funny because obviously it's sitting on a gravestone, and it's like, you know, a single crow can't be done for murder because it's only the one, so it's not a murder. So make sure I'm putting plenty of glue on the back because I don't want them to drop off in like 6 months' time. There we go. Like everything else, if you go really sparingly with your glue, it's liable to dry up and drop off. And again, if you don't make sure that you're allowing sufficient time for it to grip and hold, then the chances are sometimes that it might also come off. Right, Stabilo oil pencil and water brush. Right, 3 or 4 water brushes in. I can't remember which one I've put water in. I know one of them's got alcohol in. I should have marked it really. That's alright. That looks alright to me. And then we can just go around and just add in a few kind of shadows where we need to. Sometimes these go really dark and sometimes these kind of shadows disappear completely. And I think sometimes it depends on what you're actually going around and how you've created your page, what kind of pigments your colours tend to have. Right, let's just dry that off a little bit and then I can start manoeuvring. See, these colours are practically disappearing to insignificance, I think. I might just need to sharpen that pencil a little bit. That was a miracle. I actually knew exactly where to look for a pencil sharpener. I mean, I'm getting far too tardy in my old age. Alright, so let's just go right underneath. Yeah, it's going really, really light, isn't it? Maybe too much water. Maybe it's too much is coming through, but hey ho. A bit more underneath, a bit more underneath, a bit more underneath. I'll use a dry brush. This isn't working for me today. Okay, let's give it a quick blast. Okay, so now see, it's almost disappeared. It's just not. It's not having it today for some strange reason. So I'm going to leave it to dry, and then I can maybe come back to it at a later date. But that is my art journal page for today. So I'm going to sign it and date it. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to sign it and date it over here. And today's the 19th. So there you go. And I think just to finish off, I'm going to go around and I'm just going to see if I can add a bit more grunge. I thought about using black soot, but I thought maybe it might be a bit too dark. I think going over the top of acrylic paint as well. There we go, just kind of adds a little bit of darkness to it. So I hope you've enjoyed watching me create that art journal page for today. If you have, please remember to give the video a thumbs up, share the video with your friends, and if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel already, you can do so by clicking the button at the end of the video. And remember, it's not a murder if there's only one. Bye for now. I'd like to say a huge thank you to all of my angels, because without you, these videos would not be possible. Thank you.